What's going down, D-Gens? Late video for the week, but trying to get off a slide here, so let's change it up, right? So we go from being early to be a little bit late, and I apologize because there's some picks and plays that I got that just aren't on the board anymore, and who knows, they may all be losers, so maybe you save yourself or dodge yourself a bullet there, but let's get into it. I'm going to go over what happened last week. We'll give the plays for this week. And one of them you do kind of need to act on a little bit faster because it may be changing pretty quickly. So first of all, last week we do go 3-3. Number one lesson, just we're going to stay away from teasers for right now. Teasers traditionally are not my strong suit. I don't know why the hell I keep trying them. We try to Wong them, and the Wong teasers just not fucking loving me at all. So that was the worst beat last week because we got the Rams through the 3 and the 7 and all the what us nerds say, and when they lost by 31 points or some shit, and then the other side of that was the Eagles minus a half a point. Now that should have or could have been an easy cover, but the Eagles just mismanaged that and they get their ass the loss at the very end of the game. So that was one of the losses. The Ravens minus 8.5 was another one that really pissed me off. Ravens up by 10 points with 9 minutes left of the game. I don't know if anybody watched that one. I'm going to talk about it real quick just because it annoyed the hell out of me. They're up by 10 points. And what do they decide to do? Well, they decide that their offense just shouldn't work anymore. So they give the ball to the Raiders. Raiders go down. They are really stuck at the 20-yard line. They've been moving, but it's been relatively slow until the Ravens bail them out and give them a pass interference in the end zone. On the very next play, they get a touchdown. So now the Ravens are up by 3. And what do? They get the ball back at about the 30. They proceed to go backwards and end up with a 3rd and 19, some little shitty screen pass. And then they have to punt it again. The punt gets shanked, goes out the 45 of the Raiders. And, of course, there's a penalty. Penalty moves up to the 45 of the Ravens. Then the Raiders move 10 yards to kick a field goal. It's a tie game. And then just, again, the Ravens don't do shit on offense. They try to play it super conservative. Don't do anything. The Ravens get the ball, kick the field goal. I'm sorry, the Raiders get the ball, kick the field goal, go up. There's 30 seconds left in the game. The Ravens, I don't know, try to pass, I guess, and they couldn't really do anything. Last minute or last couple seconds, Lamar is trying to run, and it looks like he's maybe literally a juke away. If he gets one guy out of his way, he can probably run it in for the touchdown. But of course, he tries to lateral it backwards, and Justice Hill forgets how to play football and tries to throw a forward pass like an idiot. Anyways, that was just a whole slew of miscues, and it sucks because, again, we were covering this bet with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But anyways, so that's again another one losses. Chiefs, it's actually -5 is what we got it at. They barely escaped themselves with a win, so they didn't get covered there. The ones that we did win, though, Steelers at the Broncos under 37. Relatively sweat-free. And the two props, Neighbors over 66.5 yards, Daniel Jones over 27.5 rushing yards, obviously both in the same game. The Neighbors one, I didn't put it out here, but something like this, guys, especially when I'm really high on it like I was on that particular play, it's a good idea to ladder, and you can do a ladder parlay. We're going to talk about that possibly this week, but for sure whenever we get another receiver going on, with Neighbors. So what I did personally, you take the over in the yardage, and then you can parlay that with over on receptions, right? So over 5.5 receptions was his line. But then you can also turn around and say, you know what, I think he's going to do way more. So give me over 77.5 yards, and then again parlay that with over 5.5 catches, and then another one over 5.5 catches with over 87 yards and over 99 yards. And so I got about 4 steps into that ladder, and they all hit because he ended up with 10 catches for 120-something yards. So it was a pretty good day, but I apologize, didn't give that out. I just want to remark that here because moving forward, that may be a good spot for you guys or something to do moving forward. But anyways, let's get into week 3. So again, no teasers, definitely not touching that this week. But as far as the straight picks, Packers at Titans, Titans -1.5. Quick recap on this one. Titans defense is actually pretty good. You haven't got a chance to really see it shine just yet because they played the Bears. They did really good. I don't think they gave up. I know they didn't give up a single offensive touchdown And the Titans only lost that game because Will Levis, wanted to lose it really badly. But the Titans defense did its job, and then the following week against the Jets, again, did really well, made it pretty hard for the Jets to move the ball. Jets really hadn't done a whole lot in the whole first half until, again, Will Levis decides he wants to go ahead and give away the game. So the Titans, though, is really, really good at stopping the run, and I think that's going to impact the Packers because it seems like they're still going to run out there with Malik Willis, and their whole plan last week against the Colts was just to run it down their throat. And luckily, the Colts really, really suck at stopping the run, so they get the W last week. But this week against the Titans, I don't see them being able to do that. The Titans' front seven is really, really good with Jeffrey Simmons and Tafondre Sweat. Those guys are just monsters, and they really, really clog up those running lanes. So I think the Packers are going to have a hard time running the ball here. The Titans offensively have been moving, and the Packers actually are the opposite. The Packers have really struggled to stop the run. The Packers last week gave up 100-plus yards to Jonathan Taylor, and then in week 1 they gave up 3 touchdowns to Saquon. Now, given that Saquon field in Brazil was a little sketchy at best, but both games, the Packers, not that they give up gigantic games other than the touchdowns, but the running backs have some room to work. And so Tony Pollard has looked pretty good. The offensive line run blocking for the Titans has looked pretty good. And so give me the Titans minus the 1.5 in this one. Even if Jordan Love plays in this game, I still like the -1 because Jordan Love, coming off a knee injury that we all expected to take several weeks, rushing him back in the second week after this, quote unquote disastrous injury, I just cannot believe that he's ready to go out there and play 100%. And he's probably, even if he's the quarterback, they're probably going to lean a little bit more on the run, only because he's not as mobile, and maybe they don't want to test that knee out a whole lot just yet. So either way, I'm on the Titans, even if we get Love starting. Second is the Panthers at Raiders. Excuse me. Give me the under 41. Number one, 41 is a key number with totals, especially with these low-scoring games. And actually, when Bryce Young was supposed to be starting this game, the original line came out at 37.5, and I had grabbed it at that. When Andy Dalton was named as the starter, it jumped to 40.5 and 41, and I believe it's still sitting there now in most books. The thing is, yeah, Andy Dalton can play a little bit. He's going to kind of keep the trains on track, but the Raiders' defense is good. I don't know what the hell what the sports lines are looking at, because Max Crosby has been, Max Crosby, and he's not going to give you all day back there. Andy Dalton is going to need to be able to move around. He's not going to get a lot of deep threats. Maybe they do, kind of move the ball a little bit through the ground, and it obviously can't get any worse than what Bryce Young was doing out there. But I don't think that you're going to go from scoring 3 points and 10 points to all of a sudden now scoring 20 points a game with Andy Dalton. I just don't think that they have a whole lot of firepower there, even with Andy Dalton running, a competent offense. Deontay Johnson's the best weapon they got, and he's not exactly a deep threat. He's more of a get open at the line of scrimmage kind of guy. So I think the drives where either of these teams are scoring are going to be long, drawn out, rushing the ball drives, and that just eats up so much clock. The Raiders want to run. They love to run the ball. They are dead set on running it. And even Antonio Pierce came out last week after they won a game, and he said, we don't want to win like that, the way that they beat the Ravens. They want to win via the ground. Well, good luck. The Panthers are going to definitely give it to you. They're going to let you run all day. And the Panthers, in turn, are probably not going to feel too threatened and feel like they have to force the issue, especially with Andy Dalton out there. And if it wasn't enough that I'm just saying I don't think Andy Dalton is this big, world beater that's going to come in and give you 50 points, the coaching staff has already come out and said that they are looking for other quarterbacks, that there's other people on their radar. So they clearly don't think Andy Dalton is the answer, obviously not for long term. So, yes, Bryce Young, I know that he's going to eventually be the starter again, but Andy Dalton for 1 week I refuse to believe he's going to go and double and triple their scoring output, even though, again, he can kind of, keep things where they're supposed to be. So give me the Raiders defense and the under 41. It's just going to be a slower game with most likely a lot of rushing. One more game here, guys. The Chargers and Steelers. Steelers minus 1.5. the total came out earlier this week, and I was all over that one. It was at 37.5 when I first grabbed it. I think it's down to like 36 now, or 35.5, depending on where you're at. So I wouldn't touch the total anymore. It's a little bit too low for me at this point. But the Steelers minus a 1.5. The Chargers may or may not be with Justin Herbert this week, and that's why I say you might want to grab that one sooner than later, because Justin Herbert, if he's not on the field and it gets announced he's officially out, this line is definitely moving. I would not be surprised if we get to Steelers like minus 6.5. Like it's gonna definitely move. The Steelers defense very, very similar to the Raiders, especially that they have a TJ Watt that's, Max Crosby on steroids, which who knows, maybe he is, but Steelers defense is just shutting people down. I mean, obviously they haven't played a great offensive opponent just yet, and last week against the Broncos was, not exactly a true test, but TJ Watt is just getting in the backfield. Patrick Queen shutting down anything over the middle. Minka Fitzpatrick doing his job as always. I mean, these guys, they want to drag you down and play this like 10-7 kind of ball game, and that's how they win. They're going to dirty this shit up, and Mike Tomlin's going to punch you in the mouth, and they're going to just keep doing this running game. And I think the Chargers are going to be happy to oblige, whether Herbert's there or not. Especially if he's not, though, they're going to try and use Joe Alton, that big offensive line, and they're going to try to move people around and get some running lanes. They're going to try to have J.K. Dobbins, doing his thing. But I just don't think they have the firepower to do it. Not that the Steelers are going to come out and be, playing with their hair on fire, but Justin Fields can at least run and rush when the play breaks down. Justin Herbert, especially with the high ankle sprain, is not going to be very, very mobile. Secondly, the Steelers do still have George Pickens. When they do need to play, they have a guy to go to. The Chargers have, people, right? You have Ladd McConkey, they have Josh Palmer, but it just isn't really a big threat. And Ladd McConkey is, again, more of like a let's get open early and underneath kind of guy, not a big home run threat. Their home run threat to this point has been J.K. Dobbins, and I just don't believe those running lanes are going to be there for this game. So for those reasons, give me the Steelers minus the 1.5. And again, you may want to move on that sooner than later. Now, next, there are two props here, and I apologize because there were others that I would have loved to have given you guys, but the lines have just moved too much. Jamar Chase over 70.5 receiving yards was a great one. I believe that's up to like 80.5 at this point. Justice Hill for the Ravens over 11.5 receiving yards is another good one. That one you may be able to still find, but as far as the plays are concerned, the official picks here are Brian Robinson over 50.5 rushing yards. Now, I will tell you, a lot of lines have moved on this one already. It's up to like 52.5. I still love it. The Bengals, again, another team like the Packers who have not been absolutely god-awful, but they do struggle to stop the run, and typically running backs have a pretty decent day against them, especially this Washington team who is obviously using the run pass option. It's hard to really drill down on Robinson or Jaden Daniels, and in most cases, they're probably going to let Robinson do his work because you don't want Daniels to get loose and maybe find the guy downfield. You want to be able to shut down that quarterback. So give me Brian Robinson over the 50.5 rushing yards. Just, again, good matchup, good opponent. Really, again, hard to stop that Washington run game, and that's really what they got going for them. I think that he's the only even threat or issue I have with this prop is if they get down really big, really early, if it is like a 21-0 kind of game going into like the second quarter, they may obviously try to get away from the rushing a little bit. But given that that's Washington's like bread and butter, that's really what they do well. I don't know how far they can get away from it, even if they want to, until it's just absolutely, completely, out of reach. And then lastly, we have the Kyler Murray over 30.5 rushing yards. Lions, again, they do get some defensive pressure. They're going to make it a little difficult for Kyler Murray. They are playing in Arizona. When Aiden Hutchinson gets in that backfield, not to say that, Marvin Harrison isn't going to get open and get a couple passes, but it's going to be a little bit of a quicker, count in Kyler Murray's head. He's going to need to get rid of that ball. And when he doesn't, there's definitely going to be some rushing lanes, some rushing opportunities to take against this Lions team. And I do believe that it should be a shootout. And if that's the case, especially like in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, you could see Kyler trying to take off a couple times, trying to extend plays, trying to get to the first down. And honestly, if he gets 2 or 3 big runs, he may get this. It doesn't take, 10 10 attempts to get to 30 yards for Kyler Murray. He may break off a 10-yarder or a 15-yarder, and then you may be going into the second quarter thinking, damn, I only need 5 or 6 yards. So give me Kyler Murray over 30.5 rushing yards. And those are the 5 plays for this week, guys. Like I said, as we go throughout the season, the plays are going to get kind of condensed. So instead of giving you like 6, 7, 8 plays, it's going to be more like 5, like 3 to 5 per week. That's actually 6 this week. So we got good with the Steelers there. Again, that's the one. It's probably going to be the last week we have 6, but we're just going to kind of keep chipping away at these, hoping we get a better week this week. And we're going to keep going and get some money out of this damn thing. By the end of the year, we're going to be up. So you guys have a great day. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for watching it. Appreciate all the likes, comments, and subscribes. Y'all have a great day.